Okay, we're going to be working on 5.4, which is point slope form. Okay, so we're going to be picking up a new equation today. So we've been working a lot on y equals mx plus b, and we're going to keep using that, but we're going to extend it one step. Okay, point slope form, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay, so what do you think m is? Slope. Okay, and then in this case, the y1 and the x1, okay, is going to be our coordinate point. Okay, the x1 and the y1 is where we're going to be putting in coordinate points. So yesterday we kind of talked about how x and y were coordinate points. Today we're actually going to be starting to plug in those coordinate points. Okay, now on the x and the y I didn't mark. So on this guy and this guy, you are not putting anything into those ever. There will always be a y here, and there will always be an x here, okay? So you are plugging into the 1's or the m. Those are your only options to plug information in at, okay? All right, so when we look at the first problem here, it says write the following in point slope form and graph. So we're going to review a little bit of graphing today too to make sure we've got that down, okay? So when we look at this, we're given a point and a slope. So guess what? You use point slope. Mathematicians are not creative people, okay? So literally they call it whatever it is they need, all right? You need a point and a slope, so you need the coordinate point and a slope to make this work. And look what they give you. They gave you a point and they give you the slope. You literally just plug it in, okay? So when we're looking at the -3 and 2, so this would be your x1 and your y1, and then we know that m equals -5. Okay? So when we plug this in, again, you're not plugging anything in for that first x and y. So it's y minus, and then what's your y value here? 2 equals -5, because that's your slope, right? X minus, and what's your x value? -3. Okay? Now, I do expect you to clean up a double negative. I don't expect you to leave it as x minus -3. What would we call this? X plus 3, okay? So I would expect you to say y minus 2 equals -5 x plus 3 on your final answer there. So when it says write point slope, that's it, you're done. You wrote point slope. Okay? We're in there, okay? So point slope. So let's go ahead and go to the next one now. I'm going to practice it again one more time. So point slope. Okay, who thinks they can start to solve? Okay, Link, what do you think?
8 will be x and -4 will be y.
Good.
So it'll be like y minus 4.
Okay, what, y minus -4, right?
-4
Okay,
equals 2/3.
good.
Then I have x plus 8.
Minus 8.
Minus 8.
Okay, there is, when you go back and look at this formula here, see how we've got a minus in there?
Mhm.
Okay, so it's always y minus, and then you just insert the number, whatever the number, don't care if it's positive or negative, okay? So it's always y minus and x minus, insert number, okay? So now, obviously I talked about we've got to clean this up, so what would your answer then here look like when we cleaned it up?
Y plus
Ben, what do you got?
y plus 4 equals 2/3 and y equals 8.
Good. Okay, and that would be your point slope. Okay? Does anybody have a question about point slope so far? Point slope's not supposed to be very hard. It's supposed to be a little bit easier. Okay? All right, so now, the next part of this, though, it says to graph. So we have to get this information down here on the grid. So what do you think we're going to have to do with this guy to graph it? Solve for
X.
y equals mx plus b, right? We have to put it in that form, okay? So what are some things we want to do to solve for y here? Tessa? Add the 2 after we do what? Yeah, gotta distribute first, okay? So I've got y minus 2, -5x minus 15, and then what would we do? Now add your 2. So now we add the 2 over. So y equals -5x minus 13. And what form is this? What is this right here?
Slope intercept.
Slope intercept, okay? So this is what we graph out of, slope intercept, okay? The only reason we're doing the red part is because they asked us to graph it. If they didn't ask us to graph it, would we have to do the red part? No. If they just ask for point slope, you're point slope and you're done. If they ask you to graph it, then you go one step further. I will tell you right on your homework, they're not going to ask you to graph, I think they ask you to graph like 3 of them, or something, 3 or 4 of them. Other than that, you're just doing the blue section and you're done, you get to move to the next problem. Okay? So when it says, when it asks for point slope, here's your point slope. If it asks you to one step further and graph, now we solve for y. Okay? So right here, solve for y. To graph. Okay? All right. So just as a quick reminder here, let's go ahead and graph this guy. So where would I need to start at to graph that guy?
-13.
Okay, can I get 13 on my grid though? What do you guys want to count by?
5.
Okay, there we go. So -5, -10, -15. So we're starting at -13, which would be kind of right there, just above there. You're just estimating. Okay. So now I have a slope of -5. So how would I do a slope of -5?
Up 5 over 1.
Up 5 over 1 if it's negative?
Oh, it's down 5.
Down, right? If it's negative, right? So -5 over 1. So I'm going to go and call this -20. So if I'm right here, down 5 more will just be in the same location, right? Just one step down, over 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just count these as 1, 2, 3. So down 5 over 1. So kind of in the same location. And then do the same thing, down 5 over 1. In the same location. Okay, now do a few points the other direction, right? So now go up 5, so you're just moving the dot up one step there, over 1. Up 5 over 1, up 5 over 1, okay, and then draw your line there. Okay, now on your homework, I don't know that, I think they're a little prettier than that, but just remember, we've got to fit on your grid, you've got to renumber it, okay? Okay, does anybody have a question about that? Okay. Let's go ahead, we're going to skip over graphing B for right now. Okay, so remember, if it asks you to write a point slope, you write point slope. If it asks you to graph, then you keep going. Okay, let's go to the next one, we're going down to C. Okay, now on C, it still says write point slope form, right? Point slope form. But in this case, they give us 2 coordinate points. So what information are we missing? What do we need to find? We need to find slope, that's right. How do we find slope?
Rise of a road.
Okay, well, rise of run will work. What else we got?
The y1 minus y2, and then the x1 and x2.
Good, you gotta find slope. Okay, so this is good review. This is something that we did before break. Okay, so you gotta find slope. If you need to write this formula down, do that. So your slope is, remember it's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, okay? Remember we're subtracting our y's and subtracting our x's. So slope is, so start with your y's, 4 minus -3, it's kind of coming back to us a little bit. 4 minus -3, okay? And then on the bottom there, we've got 1 minus -2. 1 minus -2. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah, remember that hopefully? Okay, so then we end up with 4 minus -3 is 7. 1 minus -2? 3. So my slope is 7/3. Okay, so there's my slope. So now remember, point slope. We're missing slope, we found slope. We have 2 coordinate points, don't we? Which one do you think we use?
The first one.
Doesn't matter. Pick one. Pick whatever one you like. Doesn't matter. Okay? Now, if I'm looking at this, a lot of times I'm picking positive small numbers. A 0, if I got a 0 in the game, I'm totally picking that one. Okay? So, but it doesn't matter. You pick either one. We're going to go ahead and use 1, 4. All right? So we have point slope now. So y minus what?
y1
Minus.
1x.
Oh. What's your y? What's your value here? What's your y value? 4, right? 4. Isn't this x1 and y1? Right? Isn't that what we're plugging in? Okay, so we've got y minus 4, okay, equals, what's your slope?
7/3.
7/3
X
x
minus 1.
minus 1. Yes, ma'am.
Why would we use that
coordinate point again?
Because this is the one we paid.
So you can pick either one.
Yes. Doesn't matter,
Oh.
doesn't matter.